Good morning and welcome to the first Headliners Luncheon of the year for the Manatee Chamber of Commerce. As you all can see, we have a packed house this morning, and I know that several of you are still making your way to your seats, and Zinga and other staff members can help you do that. So I have a couple opening remarks, and then we will break in time for the IMG Golf staff to serve lunch, and then we will get on with the program, just to give you an idea of how the logistics of the luncheon will work. So I ask at this time that you pull out your mobile devices and place them on silent. And as you're doing that, if you could stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you so much. You may be seated. And again, anyone that needs assistance finding an open seat, please find one of our chamber staff team members and they will get you settled. As our first order of business at the first official luncheon event for the Chamber, I want to give a special recognition to our 2024 Chairman of the Board, Janelle Esposito Van Hoos, up here at table number 1. You will be hearing from Janelle later in the program, as she has the honor of introducing each of the 6 mayors who have joined us today for our State of the City's address. I would also be remiss if I didn't give recognition to our 2023 Chairman of the Board, now on Easy Street, Jeff Podobnik with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Jeff, thank you so much for being with us. As you might imagine, in addition to the 6 elected officials I have here up front with me, we have a number of other elected officials who joined us for today's luncheon. I'm going to read off the list of those whom I have seen and expected. If you can hold your applause till the end, and elected officials, if you'd like to stand, you're welcome to do so. From the Manatee County Commission and Port Authority, Commissioners James Satcher and Jason Bearden. In addition to the mayor, from the city of Bradenton, we have Councilwomen Jane Coker, Marianne Barnaby, Lisa Gonzalez-Moore, Pam Coachman, and Councilman Josh Kramer. From the our Manatee County Clerk of the Circuit Court and Controller, Angel Colanesso. And I also want to share a special welcome to Terry Kinder, Executive Director, President, and CEO of the Anna Maria Island Chamber of Commerce, who joined us today. Terry, we're thrilled that you're here with us. We have a long-standing and fruitful partnership between our 2 chambers as we serve our region. I also would like to take an opportunity to recognize the annual sponsors of our Headliners Luncheon, a great opportunity that these companies take to support programming like this for our chamber membership, and their financial support is so important to us bringing high-quality programming and opportunities to you all, not just to receive information, but to have a voice and to network. And those sponsors are Florida Power and Light, Manatee Memorial Hospital, the Mosaic Company, and the Realtors Association of Sarasota and Manatee. Please share a round of applause of appreciation for those sponsors. I wouldn't be an effective president and CEO if I didn't remind you that this is a great time to consider a sponsorship of chamber programming, events, and initiatives, so any chamber staff member would be happy to talk to you about that. I want to give a very special thanks to IMG Golf Club for hosting us today. Many of you, this is your first time in their gorgeous renovated event space, but I think it's one of the best views in Manatee County, and we're thrilled to be working with them and presenting this lunch. Of course, a shout out to Charles and the team at Manatee Educational Television. They are filming today's luncheon so that we have access to it after the fact, and anyone that wasn't able to join us that wants to hear our State of the City's address will be able to view that on the METV YouTube site. And a very special thanks, as we give at all of our major events, to our platinum investors. These are companies within our chairman's circle of members who give significantly above their annual dues to support the chamber. Those platinum investors are Brown & Sons Funeral Home and Crematory, Carr, Riggs & Ingram, the City of Bradenton, our newest platinum investor, Freedom Village of Bradenton, IMG Academy, Manatee County Government, Manatee Memorial Hospital, MCR Health and All Care Options, the Mosaic Company, NDC Construction Company, NDC Commercial Real Estate, the Pittsburgh Pirates and Bradenton Marauders, Raymond James Wealth Management, Bruce Body, the Sarasota Bradenton International Airport, Seaport Manatee, and South State Bank. So please, one more opportunity to show our appreciation. As you can see from the packed room, a State of the City's address appears to be of high interest to the business community and the Chamber's membership. The mayors joining us today represent more than 75,000 resident constituents and thousands of businesses within their jurisdictions. While it seems that national issues often dominate the headlines, we all know that decisions and policies at the local level impact our lives and our economy every day. Considering and balancing a multitude of ideas and opinions from diverse constituents is par for the course for the 6 leaders joining us today. By a show of hands, how many of you either reside in or own a business that falls within one of the 6 cities that's speaking today? I'm just curious. Okay, significant. I, like you, am looking forward to hearing about the vision that these city leaders have and learning about the opportunities that we, as business leaders, have to shape the future for our region with advocacy on city-related issues. We're going to take a short break now to let the awesome team here at IMG Academy Golf Club serve our lunch. When we come back from our break, Chairman of the Board Janelle Esposito Van Hoos will present bios for each of the 6 mayors, and then each of the mayors will deliver opening remarks. And then after that, very important to our programming, we will open up the session for Q&A with our chamber members. We have a microphone in the back, and we will ask anyone who has a question to ask of one or more of our mayors to make their way to that microphone. Janelle will remind you of those logistics as well. So for now, enjoy a few minutes of networking and the start of your lunch, and we'll be back up here in just a few moments.
Good afternoon. The mic is on. We're going to get started here in a second. If I can have your attention and have a few minutes to introduce each of the distinguished people that we have here today. I do have to say, I really enjoy having to talk loudly a bit to get you all to stop visiting. So I think that's a good thing that here, one of our first luncheon of the year for the chamber, to see everyone mingling and excited to be here, I think is exciting and just tells you a little bit about our community and who we are. We're excited to be here, so that's a good thing. I'm going to introduce each of the people here at this table, and I'm going to do so in alphabetical order. So there is no person that's first or second for any other reason. I do want to say, I believe, and Jackie and I were talking about this in her memory as well. We think it's the first time that we've had all of them here at the same table at this event. And I think that really says something about them and their commitment to this community, and to have an opportunity, to give us an opportunity to discuss as a community, because each of these communities that they represent matter very much, right, and make up the county as a whole. So I just want to say thank you to each of you for taking the time to be here. So we're going to start with Mayor Jean Brown. Mayor Brown served 3 terms on the Bradenton City Council as Ward 2 councilman before deciding to run for mayor. He brings a unique perspective to the mayor's office as vice president and COO of Brown & Sons Funeral Homes and Crematory, where he has served Bradenton since 1989. He clearly understands firsthand the needs of the business community. He is also active in service to the community, and as an example, I'll highlight his extensive history with the Boys and Girls Clubs. He served as president of the board of directors for the DeSoto Boys and Girls Club from 1989 to 1997 and was named board member of the year in 1997. In 2006, he won a Boys and Girls Club of America National Medallion Award. He prepared for his career at Gupton Jones College of Funeral Service in Atlanta, Georgia, where he earned an AS degree in 1989. A graduate of Bayshore High School, he also attended Mars Hill College and Manatee Community College, where he earned an associate's degree. Mayor Brown has been married for over 30 years, and he and his wife, Gina, have 2 grown children and 2 grandchildren. If we can just take a minute to welcome him today, and then I'm going to move on to the next. Next, we have Mayor Shirley Groover Bryant. Mayor Bryant was born and raised in Palmetto, Florida, and all of us who know her know that she loves her community. She graduated from Palmetto High School, MCC, which is now State College of Florida, and Florida Southern College with a degree in economics and accounting. Mayor Bryant's past experience includes having worked for the Property Appraiser's Office, worked as the Chief Financial Officer for a local charter school, worked with a congressional office, and she was on the City Commission. In 2008, she was elected as mayor of the city of Palmetto, where she continues to serve today. She has served on several government and community boards and has been part of numerous charitable events. Plus, she is thrilled to assist with many veteran events as time allows. Will you join me in welcoming her to the luncheon today? Next, we have Mayor John Chappie. He was born in Dayton, Ohio, where I used to live actually, and grew up in the country outside of West Milton, Ohio. He is a graduate of Ohio University and moved to Bradenton Beach, where he has lived since 1974. As mayor of Bradenton Beach, John worked with the city commission and staff to develop a CRA along the Bridge Street area, and today it is one of the most economically successful and viable business districts in the county. He was a Manatee County Commissioner from 2008 through 2016, and he has served in a large number of other leadership roles throughout his time in public service. He has also provided leadership to a number of nonprofits, including the MTC Foundation, Keep Manatee Beautiful, several chamber committees, and the Economic Development Council, just to name a few. If you'll join me in welcoming Mayor Chappie here today. Next, we have Mayor Dan Murphy. Mayor Murphy has served as the mayor of Anna Maria since 2014. His current term expires in November of 2024. He is a native of St. Petersburg and a graduate of the University of South Florida with a degree in political science. He began his career as a lineman with GTE in St. Petersburg, and he retired in 2005 as an executive with Verizon Wireless. He is a Vietnam vet, having served on a boat in the Mekong Delta during 1968 and 1969. Anna Maria utilizes a strong mayor form of city of government, and as mayor, he is responsible for the overall management of city departments. He's an advocate of maintaining home rule and has addressed various state of Florida House and Senate committees on the impact of the vacation rental industry on barrier island communities. Mayor Dan and his wife, Barbara, reside in the city of Anna Maria. They have 4 children and 7 grandchildren. Please join me in welcoming Mayor Murphy today. Next, we have Mayor Ken Schneier. He has been mayor of Longboat Key for 4 years. A 14-year resident of the island, he previously held positions as commissioner and as a member of the Planning Board and the Zoning Board of Adjustment. He is a director and past president of the Yale Club of the Suncoast and volunteered as a guide at Mote Marine Laboratories for 10 years. Before retiring in 2009, he was a partner in the Dillon, Batar, and Luther law firm in New Jersey, and then managing director of Bank of America Securities in New York City, and responsible for international distressed debt, trading, and investment. He's been married to Cynthia Craig for 41 years and has 2 sons and 4 grandchildren who live in Colorado. Join me in welcoming him today. And last but certainly not least, we have Mayor Judy Titsworth here with us today. And she was elected as mayor for a 2-year term beginning in November of 2008 through 2020, and then ran unopposed in 2020 and 2022. She was originally elected as city commissioner in November 2012 and served in that role through 2018. She attended the University of Alaska and Manatee Community College, majoring in business. She has spent the last 30-plus years in the construction and development industry. Her community involvement includes serving as a wildlife rehabilitator for over 30 years. She also enjoys the outdoors, fishing, scuba diving, boating, and is also an artist. While serving as commissioner, she served as the Roads, Bridge, Canals, and Erosion Liaison, Buildings and Grounds, and the Code Enforcement Liaison for the city. She also served as alternate for the Manatee County Emergency Operations Center. And she, with her husband, Steve, have 5 children, and I love this, numerous grandchildren. She's lost count. Please join me in welcoming her today. So just to state again, we're going to have each one of you get up and say a few remarks in alphabetical order, and then we will have time for questions later. So just hold on to those questions, and we'll give you an opportunity to do that. Thank you.
You don't get to pick your last name sometimes, so just have to go first. But one thing that I did want to say is great bio for me, but I've got 3 grandchildren now, a little 10-month-old, Piper Honey, and she will be in the baby pageant at the fair a week from Saturday. So if I didn't say that, because it's on TV, so you want to make sure that that gets out there. But no, she was kind of a surprise, and that was something good for our family. But I'd just like to welcome everybody and thank you for being here today. The chamber, obviously, when there's ribbon cuttings, and Jackie always knows this, and with the staff, that whenever I'm around that, I say we've got the best chamber in the world. And, in the state of Florida, no doubt, because they've actually changed the rules on how you win that every year. So we can only win it every 5 years now instead of every year. So to give other people a chance. So it's just an honor to obviously be the mayor of the city of Bradenton and go through what we go through. I'm blessed to have a great council. All 5 of them are here. So I can't really make anything up because they'll hold me to that part of it. And I know Josh will definitely do that, but no. I'm just very blessed. The last year in the state of the city for the last 12 months has been unbelievable and great. When you've got a council that works together and, does have times when we kind of, we'll go back and forth on some things, but when you're working for the good of the whole, it makes our whole city better and our whole community better. So I'm proud to be kind of the leader of that group. And then when you talk about staff, we've got Mr. Perry, who's our administrator now that came in, followed big shoes of Mr. Callahan there, but, kind of different directions and things that we're doing in the city now. We're just glad to have his leadership with our planning director, our chief of operations, and I'm going to miss some, but all of them are here today, and that's just something that we're proud to really say our staff is working for the good of the city and working forward. So, and then our CRA, which obviously I was on the CRA board for a while before I became mayor. All the council members are the CRA board now, and we were fortunate enough to get Jeff Burton to come in and maybe be his last hurrah before he retires and stay with the city for a while. But the CRA gives an opportunity for some things to happen downtown that won't probably happen without some help and some things that you do in a community. So, just kind of getting through all of that. One of the biggest things that I think that as we go through this, and I know we talked about, I'm already at 2.5 minutes, so Shirley said keep it short. Just some of the things. When you look at public safety, that's one of the most important things we deal with when you go through parts of in a local government. One of my biggest goals coming in as mayor was to talk about what we do to stabilize some of our public safety and get it. We know in a smaller city you may have more turnover, and one of the things that we're most proud of with our council in the last year, we had a contract with our PBA and the way through getting the cost of living up for our police officers, and at this point now, we have almost a waiting list at times because we have people going through the police academy wanting to get there and some longer stability that we're looking forward to. So, that's a tribute to not only pay, but also the department, the way it's run. And one of the big things in that department is, and our chief and the staff is really going through working to get grants to try to make things where it's a little bit easier to do some things without having to put it on the taxpayers' back. And this past year, with a lot of the grants, we've got almost over $850,000 of grants to work towards things. So state of the city, good things happening going through it. With our, probably some of the other things, downtown is very important to us. And when you look at it through our CRAs and what's happening and some funding through the CRAs with the police department, and one of those biggest things, I think if anybody was downtown, or, a few years before I was in bed at midnight on New Year's Eve, but now in the position, we got to be out there kind of celebrating. And we had a great New Year's Eve event on Main Street. And that was one of the biggest things to me, was how we kind of come out of COVID, what we do to kind of vitalize downtown a little bit more. And those businesses, some of those businesses, these events we have downtown will make enough money in that one night to pay their rent or their mortgage for a couple of months. So if you don't have those events, then your business is struggling. But it was probably the best crowd I've ever seen downtown at the moment. And it was the best crowd when you know it. There's other cities around us that there's a lot of exciting things going on when they have a downtown event, but it was just a great event where people were able to have fun and see it, and looking forward to more events. So just to kind of hit some of the capital development highlights, we're building a new police department, new fire department, new city hall, a new PSOC, city park, which is a big thing obviously for our past chairman here. With the Pirates and the Marauders, and when things are going on that, you're really going to see some excitement coming, which will actually connect how our city comes together from downtown to Village of the Arts to City Park. Putting a third baseball field there will energize that area year-round, and that's very important. If we have more tournaments, more things, 9th Street, 17th, down 9th to downtown can now become more of a viable downtown district that will really start to help and go through things. Affordable, attainable workforce housing. We're really doing a lot in the city. You see them. If you drive down 9th now, starting to the south border of the city of Bradenton, you're going to look at some 3 places coming up going north. You've got the Astoria on 9th, you've got Riverview 6, and you have 920 that are coming that are senior living, workforce type housing authority, so or housing. You've got the Met on 14th Street that's going to open up, but just in what we're doing now in the city of Bradenton is almost 700 places will open up in the next probably 3 to 24 months depending on construction. So those are things. The Live Local Act, some of the things that are happening with that. They've come into our planning department talking, and so some of that's working. Even though government won't be as much financially involved, there won't be the ability to stop some of it, which is in a good way, I think, going to be important. Again, events we're working on, public market through the Realize Bradenton is really striving in the last few years, coming out of COVID again. Regatta's coming, that's again, somewhere between 70 and 100,000 people. This year, because of timing, the Pirates Fest is going to be part of the regatta at the end of it during the day. So we're excited to have kind of that double thing downtown. It does stress our staff a little bit, but we're excited about that, and our staff will work through it. Spring training baseball is coming in the city of Bradenton. Obviously, the DeSoto Heritage Festival is going. There's going to be a little bit more of activity downtown, and I don't know if anybody's seen it yet. It's going to come out in the paper tomorrow, and I'll kind of spill it now. The parade is changing. It's not starting at Manatee High School now. It will start downtown by where the old Bradenton Herald used to be on Manatee Avenue, and it's going to go west now and end at 39th Street. So it's going to be a huge change, and I hope third year we'll have a parade. We're going no matter what, because even though I didn't control any of that, I got blamed for it a little bit in the fun way. But we're going to just say go, and it's going to start at 8 o'clock. So there's going to be some changes there. Some things that are happening again around the city. Herrig Art Center is under construction right now. It's not directly city-related, but involved in things that are happening. The performing arts, I understand, is going to have some expansion coming pretty soon. And then one of the biggest things, and I'll kind of close up as quick as I can, is with our city park, there's an opportunity for the community to build a community center right there by Rogers Gardens. And Rogers Gardens is one of our is the worst performing Title I school in the county and in the city of Bradenton. And there's some opportunity, I think, with this city park that the city will be involved in, and getting in with Powell to put a community center there, and some property that will be tied in with that is going to change 3- and 4-year-old lives. And we know that's an area that needs it the most. And again, if we can do that and a legacy to help children, that's what we need to do. So I'm going to cut it off there, and I appreciate it. And the city of Bradenton is alive, and we're happy that we're able to get out there for you. So thank you.
Get out eventually.
Does this count towards your time?
No, this does not count for my time. Hello, everybody. I've got my group that has joined me today, some of my department heads and some of my staff. We have our police chief, we have our attorney, Mr. Barnaby, one of our attorneys, and we also have Penny here, and we have Ed Johnson. He's our CRA direct department head, and we also have Jim Freeman, who's going to be advancing the PowerPoint that we brought today. We've been very, very, very busy. Right now, as a lot of you know, the fair is going in Palmetto, and I have to say that for a reason. Could you hand me that bag? Yeah. They're counting my time. No, if I didn't say this, my son's the fair president this year. And so I was glad that Mayor Brown brought up the fair, because it is ongoing and it'll start tomorrow. And the city of Palmetto every year does a historical bag. And so this year's just came in. So fresh off the presses, so to speak, we use the Crusader building because we're a historical community. And we think that that's very important to retain our history, because that is who we are. But this is a Crusader building, and we have a few with us today, but they'll also be available at the Manatee County Fair. So we hope that everybody will go support the youth in Manatee County and help us make a difference in the community to reach out and work together for the youth. I was going to start at this time really to just go ahead and go through the PowerPoint, kind of cover the points, and I know I'm on the clock, Jean. Palmetto's basically a family-friendly community. We're a small town, and we're concerned with the appearance, the services, infrastructure, safety, economic stability, and historic preservation. We're one of the oldest cities in Manatee County, 127 years, 7 square miles, 14,000 residents, 124 full-time employees, with a mayor and commission, strong mayor form of government. Moving to the next slide, something that is interesting that we were discussing earlier is we've seen property values increase steadily over the last 10 years as a result of the appreciation and new construction. We have a $42 million operating budget, $24 million capital plan, taxable value of $1.3 billion. We are financially strong and well-positioned for future growth. We have the lowest property tax per capita in Manatee County, and we think that's a true asset for Palmetto. We are very mindful of the different projects that we do. We always try to incorporate an environmental aspect to that. That being said, for those that have not seen Connor Park, it's on 5th Street and 5th Avenue in Palmetto. But if you look at this, it will make you realize that it's It's really for the benefit of cleansing the water that runs from the north to the river. It cleanses it so that we're preparing for the future, trying to leave the environment better than we found it, and that's always a good thing. Project was done with the benefit. We always were like other governments. We try to be wise, we try to be prudent, and we try to go for every dollar that we can get from grants. And yet again, that was part of it. Moving on, you can see the video of the picture of our new police department, state of the art. It's a 20,000 square foot structure, $10.2 million state of the art. Primarily funded through the half-cent infrastructure sales tax. It's hurricane-hardened facility. Previous PD building was built in the 1960s. So I had a lot of complaints through the years from people that just had to visit there for one reason or another. I mean, voluntarily, because I didn't interview the other ones. But anyway, there will be an opportunity. The city plans to demolish and redevelop the old site, the old PD site, so that will be going on the surplus list, and we're hoping that someone will purchase that and redevelop that, get it on the tax rolls. Moving on, the 7th Street extension with the roundabout at US 301 to Haven Boulevard is being completed. $3.2 million project. It's 100% grant funded via the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity. It's our second roundabout on Haven Boulevard in the city. It provides a new east-west corridor. It assists with mobility around the new convention center. Moving on, we also have installed, and all of this has been going on this year, and it's probably why our Public Works Director isn't here. He's very, very tired. Because when you try to manage and have oversight for the police department and 2 roundabouts at the same time, it's quite challenging. So he's done a yeoman's job. But what you're seeing is the roundabout at Business 41 and 23rd Street. It's been provided through joint funding with the Florida Department of Transportation and the City of Palmetto. It's a mile-long roadway safety improvement roundabout, and it will be actually the 3rd roundabout in the city. The total construction is $6.1 million, and the city contributed $1 million towards that. It's incorporating lighting, sidewalk, and drainage. The motivation for this project was pushed forward by the fact that we had a high school senior. We had another individual that was killed at that intersection, but the high school senior was to graduate that year. And when I went to graduation for one of my great nephews, their family walked across the stage to collect her diploma. So I will tell you, there's always cooperation when you really seek it. I reached out to L.K. Nandum, and I reached out to him on a Saturday afternoon. He actually responded to me on Sunday. On Monday, I had a traffic engineer reaching out to me, and we scheduled a meeting moving on from that. Palmetto Bay Preserve, I'll try to finish up with this because I know my time is limited. The budget for this is $500,000. The CRA grant funds of $250,000 we've received through the FDEP Resiliency Program. And that being said, it will be an enhancement and aquatic habitat project, 370 reef balls in a 23-acre site, creating a living seawall, living reef to mitigate seawall deterioration, created new aquatic and wildlife habitats, adult oysters to clean. Basically, they're capable of cleaning 50 gallons of water per day, and it also cools the surrounding area and reduces urban heat island effect. So, and also you're very aware of the new construction going on at the convention center with the new hotel, and there's construction going on the convention center itself. So that will be linked together. So there's a little more in there, but we will leave it to you, and we can share this if anybody would like to see it. We'll probably have it in our fair booth. And one other thing, just as a public service announcement, we know that there's a lot of concern about what's going on as far as the DeSoto Bridge and the different areas that they're going to be looking to take those offshoots where they're going to be going. The City of Palmetto has invited the Florida Department of Transportation to join us in our fair booth. And they're also accompanying us as we go throughout the county, throughout Palmetto, talking to the different CDDs and mobile home parks, and for them to get input from them. It's important that they get that input. So if you happen to go to the fair, or if you would like to have them come and make a presentation to your employees, they're more than welcome to do that. They joined us yesterday, but they're going to be with us in our fair booth at the fair. So stop by and visit. So thank you all. You're a great audience.
I thought you guys said you'd be short.
What?
Good time. You'll do better, won't you? Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here today. I really appreciate it, especially the Chamber for putting this together. The Chambers, as you all know, are great tools to use and take advantage of and work for your community and to help your businesses as well. I know our Island Chamber does exactly the same stuff, and we're very blessed to have two great chambers around here, especially the Manatee one, who really is going above and beyond and is huge. So I appreciate everybody being here today. As you know, I'm from Bradenton Beach. I can actually say that. When I first came here, you didn't say that unless you were born and raised here. So, but we are a small community. The smallest in Manatee County, so we multitask. All of our department heads multitask in a lot of different jobs. It's not just the one they have, to try to be efficient and serve the people, serve our residents and our many visitors that get to come and visit us. So we've, over the last several years, I can remember when I first started in Bradenton Beach, we did not, we would tell the staff at the near the end of the year, if you haven't spent the money, don't spend it. We were literally using credit cards, the city cards, because we just didn't have the money. And over a lot of years and a lot of work by great individuals, department heads and elected officials that over the years that have really turned Bradenton Beach around, especially for the long timers. You know the history, and you know where Bradenton Beach was 40 years ago when I first came down here. It was different. It was very different, and one of the tools that we were able to use in 1992, we started our community redevelopment area to revitalize the downtown area, the commercial area, to make a sense of place. And I know one of our mayors, and both of them, they go after grants all the time. Boy, we went after grants full bore. We were able over the years to get 2 community development block grants for $500,000 each, which was kind of the start. We were able to put the first roundabout I believe on a state highway in Florida, which helped easy access for pedestrian friendly. So that's always been on our mind. But we made a lot of progress over the years, and the CRA has been a big part of it. But the leadership and the staff and the employees that we have are second to none in all the different jobs they never realized they were going to have to do. We have a wonderful police department that is big time on community servicing. What's nice about the smaller cities, in any city, we are the government closest to the people, which I believe is the government that works best for the community. It's our neighbors, and in Bradenton Beach, it's even tighter than that. We can just yell over the fence, and you can hear halfway up the island to hear who's doing what, where, and when. So it's a great place to live. It has done amazing things, as I say, in the last 30 years. People want to come to our community now. It's not avoid it. We get people saying they had no clue Bridge Street was there and what's been happening. One of the nice things that we do on the island is we work together, the 3-4 island cities. We have an island transportation planning organization. We have the community, or the the CBIEO, Coalition of Barrier Island elected officials, and we get together about every other month, every third month sometimes, to work out our differences if there are any, but to more importantly work together and try to work together on different things that are happening in the community. Our priorities in Bradenton Beach, we have several big priorities that I want to touch on real quick. Undergrounding all of our public utilities. We started at the very south end, and we're all the way up to and including Bridge Street. We currently have appropriations that we're applying for, $5 million. So if you have any connections with Tallahassee, we really, really, really need it to continue that undergrounding that has been very successful. And if you want to talk about how great it is, the mayor of Longboat Key, they've been working and spending a lot of money to get Longboat Key underground, and which is also connected with the resiliency. And when we have storms, it's going to help us out. So we're not going to be without power only a shorter period of time. So that's one of the benefits. I would encourage everybody to do that. The other thing we're working on constantly is stormwater projects. We don't have an appropriations request this year, but we're still finishing up with a $2.7 million appropriation grant for stormwater improvement, which also helps for the outflows and cleaning up of the waters that go into our estuaries, which is very important. Environment is always key and always important. We know where we live, and it's our job to help preserve and protect our environment as best we can as a community, and we do that as well. One of our big projects, we're also in partnering with Manatee County and Tourist Development dollars, which have helped tremendously, is working on our expansion and improvements on our dock area, our city pier, our floating dock, and the finger docks that we've been able to add. So we have about 23, 24 places for boats to come up and spend a little time on Bridge Street, do a little shopping. So that's helped wonderful, and we really appreciate all the help that we get from the county. 2 minutes already. It does go fast, doesn't it? Yeah. So like I say, the stormwater projects, the undergrounding, we're getting ready for the ferry service. We're getting ready to start working on a big pergola area. It's kind of the connection between our boardwalk area and Bay Drive South, which is part of a big resiliency project as well, plus some county TDC funds to help us with that. So we're moving forward on that. Complete Streets, FDOT, where the PD&E is getting ready to start. So that's really exciting to help improve Bridge Street, improve the traffic flow, and most of all, improve public safety for our residents. And since I'm getting the hook, I'm going to go ahead and stop it on that. That's all right. I'll go ahead and stop because my good friend, Mr. Murphy, I think is going to be next, or Judy, or the mayor of Longboat. So I will talk to you later. I hope you have lots of questions. One quick question. Does anybody here know what OPAGA means? Just saying. You might have some questions.
Thank you for setting the stage, John,
Yeah.
about OPAGA.
Yeah.
So I'm Dan Murphy. I'm the mayor of the city of Anna Maria. I've been the mayor for 10 years. And in that period of time, I think we've made some great accomplishments and we got a lot done. But there's still a lot to do in the city of Anna Maria. Anna Maria is just 1 square mile of city. And we have a permanent population of about 982, unless somebody died last night. And, or maybe somebody was born. But nonetheless, that's not our real population, because the interesting part about the city of Anna Maria is that we are 80% vacation rental dwellings. So the real population of the city of Anna Maria at any given point in time is well over the 982. It's actually closer to around 11,000, maybe 12,000. And that wouldn't count, of course, all the people that come across to visit our fair city and enjoy our beaches and what we have to offer in the city. And in terms of what we have to offer in the city, we have a great little shopping district that was developed over the last 10 to 12 years on Pine Avenue. It requires a little bit of work. It's a little bit difficult to navigate walking-wise and/or bicycle-wise. So on the books, we have a great plan coming up to improve Pine, and we're calling it Reimagining Pine Avenue. We've gotten a lot of money from the state earmarked for these improvements. The only challenge that we seem to have is having a successful bidder come in and bid the project out. Everything's been approved, it's all designed. We're going to put paver sidewalks on either side of Pine. We're going to put fancy kind of romantic lighting on Pine Avenue. We want to make it attractive and nice for the businesses that are on Pine and safe for the pedestrians and the visitors who come to visit us. At the end of Pine Avenue is this really the jewel of our city. There are two things. One is the pier. Our city pier, if you've been to it recently, you might recall that it was destroyed during Hurricane Irma. The pier was 100 years old, over 100 years old. It really was dilapidated, and Irma, when she came through, just really wiped it out. So we had to do something to rebuild it. We rebuilt it into really a world-class pier. We had to stay exactly in the same footprint of the old pier. And architecturally, we wanted it to look the same because that picture of the pier that you see, you'll see it all over the world. I've traveled to Europe and I've traveled to the Far East, and I've seen pictures of our pier in different places. It's a hallmark, it's the trademark of our city. So it had to look architecturally the same, and it does. A few minor changes. On the pier, we have a small little snack bar, and then there was a great deal of pressure, particularly on me, to put a restaurant back on the pier. A lot of people felt that a sit-down restaurant was the right thing to do. When we looked at when we rebuilt, we had to rebuild to current codes, and that included current fire codes, et cetera. The only way that a restaurant could successfully make it on that pier was to take up the entire pier. And so it would almost preclude fishing on the pier, and our pier is a fishing pier. So it really became then a toss-up of what can we put out there besides a snack bar. And we were fortunate enough to land Moat Marine. Moat Marine wanted to put a learning center. That's what they had proposed. And boy, thanks to the TDC and the state of Florida, we were able to get the funding to build a world-class Moat Marine Center out on the ends of the pier, along with the snack bar that we have today. That Moat Marine Center brings in over 500 people every day into our city. 500 people every day go through that. We've had record days of over 1,000 people going through that center. It's not very big, but it certainly is interesting. And Moat Marine brings so much class to the city. It's really helped us a great deal in terms of attracting people and attracting businesses and making it successful. And all we really need to do now is build up our infrastructure on Pine Avenue to accommodate the number of people that have come into town. The plus side of all that, of course, is increased business. The downside is Anna Maria was always kind of a sleepy residential retirement community. And so we're going through that cultural change now. And there's a lot of people, the people that have lived there a long time, including myself, that struggle with this change. And what we don't want is, we don't want it to become Daytona Beach or Fort Lauderdale or Party City. We want to be able to maintain our cultural past and to still have that hometown, old Florida feel about the city. So the balancing act is between that and the vacation rental industry, which likes to put, in some cases, 20 and 25 people in a house, right in the middle of a residential neighborhood. It's a real struggle. Consequently, a lot of my time is spent lobbying, along with our lobby firm, the state of Florida, because every year a bill comes up taking away our ability to regulate vacation rentals. What we regulate with vacation rentals is really just a couple of things. occupancy. We limit the occupancy to 8 people per home. And then secondly, we do a safety inspection of it. Those are the 2 key elements that we're trying to keep. And I have to say, every year, the state comes up with a bill, and they want to take that away from us. And I work very hard, and so does our commission, to keep what we can keep in terms of regulating vacation rentals. We have a website called homerulefl.com where you can send a letter to your senator or to your representative or to a committee. It's a very flexible website. We've made some more improvements to it. If you get an opportunity, look at homerulefl.com and you'll see it's our attempt to lobby the legislature to let us keep a little bit of home rule in the city of Anna Maria. And with that, I will close. I did have 45 slides that I was going to show, but since the other 3 took up all my time, so now up to Mayor Ken.
Thank you, Dan, and thanks everyone for inviting me to speak here. This is the first time that I know I've had an opportunity to address this group, and it's an honor to do it. Unfortunately, I understood Jackie to say that we had 80 minutes and not 8 minutes, so I'm going to have to rush this a little bit. I want to give a snapshot of Longboat Key. We're a little bit off the radar for some people in Manatee County and in Sarasota for that matter. We have about 7,500 full-time residents. We get up over 20,000 in the winter. We are primarily residential with some tourists. We are a little bit unusual. We look a lot like Anna Maria from island from space in that we're a 10-mile barrier island with beaches all along one side and bay all along the other side. But instead of being 3 towns in one county, we are 1 town in 2 counties. So we're split about evenly between Sarasota County in the south and Manatee County in the north. For years, we had a principle, the one county principle. It was a program to try to get ourselves into one or the other counties to avoid the duplication of effort and some of the confusion that is involved. But several years ago, we decided to reverse course on this and really embrace the differences, if you will. And so we've tried to work closely with Sarasota, with Manatee County, to do things in their interest and in ours. And that's worked out very well. And one example of this I want to give just is bearing fruit this week. So yesterday, the Manatee County Commission met and approved 2 things that we've been working on for a long time. One is a unified transit system for Longboat Key, which in our case will have the Sarasota County on-demand transit system that has worked only in the Sarasota portion of our town and throughout the rest of Sarasota County. It'll work all the way up to Coquina Beach. So someone on Longboat or someone in Coquina can make their way with one ride all the way from Coquina Beach down into the city of Sarasota and vice versa. So that's a Sarasota win if they would look at it this way. It's been worked out between the 2 counties. The other thing that was approved yesterday is really the first major entree of Manatee County into Longboat Key. So this has been in the works for a couple of years. There is space in the Whitney Plaza Shopping Center right at the north end of our island, about 6,400 square feet, which in yesterday's vote, the county agreed to lease from the owner. And in collaboration with the Manatee School Board to operate an outpost of the county there with adult education, some library, some use for the county, for the city, and some of our condos and other groups that need meeting space and the like. So this conversion of a one county system to let's embrace the 2 counties has worked out very well for us. A few things about our county, just historically, very quickly. We do differ from some of the other local areas in that in the 1980s, We downsized our zoning. Now, if you drive down the island, you'll see some tall buildings. All of them are 40-plus years old. So as of 1984, nothing could be built on Longboat Key that has a density of more than 6 units per acre. And if you want to do more than that, you have to go to a referendum to the whole town. That's kept the population way down. We also, in the early 2000s, approved a no short-term rental ordinance, which fortunately precedes the date that the legislature has been using to wipe out grandfathering of other communities' short-term rental ordinances. So we've been safe from that as well. So these are, prior to my time, prior to all my colleagues' time, but they were helpful decisions for Longboat Key. Our issues now, we share them with the other barrier islands in the whole region. Traffic during season is tough. Beaches need to be renourished about every 6 or 7 years. We go out for a bond issue that does $30 to $35 to $40 million just to renourish the beaches. We get some help from FDEP on that, but it's mainly us. And then, I don't know if any of you heard about pickleball. We have a lot of clamoring for pickleball. We're doing the best we can, but it's never enough, you may realize. Just quickly on projects we have going, it's been mentioned that we're undergrounding all of our utilities. This is a 3.5-year project. We're now into year 5. We hope that it will be done, and we really do hope it will be done by the end of calendar 2024. We have a complete streets program for Gulf of Mexico Drive. Everything there from bike paths to multi-purpose lanes to repurposing the streets, what have you. We have FDOT working with us on street safety to have better crossings with better lighting so people can get from the east side over to the beach. We had a leak in our under bay sewer line you may have heard about 3 years ago. It was fortunately on the land side over in Manatee County and not in the bay, but we have relined all of the land side of that, and we're now in the works to replace or do a redundant line that'll go under the bay. That's another $20 million project. We have the St. Regis project. The Colony, you may remember, was a resort on Longboat Key. It was one of the predecessors of IMG Academy, in fact. And it brought a lot of people who live in Longboat now to the island at that point. St. Regis is finishing up a project this year to build a resort and condominiums where the Colony existed previously. Interestingly, it'll be exactly the same number of units as the Colony was. So we hope we won't have a lot more traffic coming out of it. It'll be about the same size, at least in terms of units. Transit I've mentioned, Manatee County presence I've mentioned. Just as a final view, our mantras in Longboat Key in government is civility. It is more and more our relationship with our neighboring communities on the islands and in the mainland and in both counties. We do try to play some role with our neighbors in terms of development. For instance, St. Armand's Circle, which is a big part of our community. We love it. There have been movements recently to try to build up St. Armand's, increase the height by 10 or 20 feet, put hotels and things like that in it. We've taken some steps to try to get involved in that and not let it get ahead of itself. There are also some movements that have taken place down in Sarasota City to limit Fruitville Road, you may be aware of, from 4 lanes to 2 lanes. That was up and defeated several years ago. It's back on the agenda again, and we hope that doesn't happen. But I appreciate your having us here and look forward to the questions. Thanks.
I promise to behave. I have laryngitis. But I do have a speech, so hopefully I'll be able to get through it. And it's my privilege
to share with you the State of the City report for the City of Holmes Beach. And I thank you for this opportunity. We have accomplished a great deal this year in Holmes Beach. As much as I would like to fast forward to the city's many successes, I would like to take the time to share with you a bit of history, including that political discord with the county and state leaders and how we are able to stay true to our stakeholders, our citizens, and our guests by honoring our city's vision statement and comprehensive plan. In the past 3 years, the City of Holmes Beach has become known for its conflicts with county leaders and more recently being in the crosshairs of threatening legislation by state leaders. Although this conflict began with my lack in support for the district representative and the county commissioner's firing of Sherry Corrier, it was the city's decision to limit the number of secondary beach parking in residential neighborhoods that really set this conflict in motion. This quickly grew into a cease of all county and state funding, a county-initiated state law mandating a 4-story parking garage, and an impending decision by state leaders on whether cities are even needed on the island anymore. As city leaders, it is our responsibility for the public health and safety of all who live, work, and play in our community. We were one of the very last coastal cities in the region to institute limits on the number of cars that could be accommodated for beach access on neighboring streets. This was done by reviewing 10 years of public safety and health concerns while understanding the importance of providing adequate parking within the proximity to the beaches. These past 10 years, we have made great strides in addressing the concerns of the public and of the county and state leaders. Secondary parking was reduced in residential neighborhoods and relocated closer to the public beach to provide restrooms, refreshments, and lifeguards. Maps were created online to help people find this parking. Improvements were made by physically identifying where it is permitted to park. Surveys are taken during peak hours, making certain adequate parking is provided. Drone footage is taken at the public beach and is posted online, providing parking at a glance to identify parking trends. And a local church provides overflow parking within a short walk to the public beach. The city has and will continue to be a part of the solution in making certain people can safely enjoy a day or a stay on the beach, and currently accommodates over 12,000 visitors in cars on any given day. With the tremendous growth in the county, solutions providing alternative modes of transportation to the beach will need to be a priority of county and state leaders. I can attest that we do not have a parking problem. We have a traffic problem. And with constrained right-of-ways and narrow 2-lane roads on the entire island, accommodating growth by adding parking garages on the island is not the answer. The threat of a parking garage pales in comparison to forced consolidation or the elimination of the island cities. The citizens of the 3 island cities reside in chartered cities that afford them the opportunity to have a voice on how the city is governed and developed, which includes building height and density maximums. Any change to this charter requires a referendum of the voters. It stems from the idea that our communities should be governed by the people who live in them and is enshrined in Florida's Constitution and is essential to American democracy today. By state leaders' elimination of our chartered cities, it would afford them the ability to centralize their control and override the decisions currently made by local voters. The options being considered by state leaders are: number 1, all 3 cities on AMI to be consolidated into one new city on the island. Number 2, all 3 cities in AMI consolidated into the city of Bradenton. Or 3, leave well enough alone, allowing the cities to govern themselves accordingly. The City of Holmes Beach has created balance in a community that attracts many competing elements. Carefully crafted local legislation has given the city the ability to prosper, both in preserving the environment, increasing our population, and being the top bed tax contributor to the county for transient housing. The City of Holmes Beach alone has contributed over $40 million to this fund, and at the same time, regulates transient housing length of stay in residential districts. This small beach town has an impressive $3 billion in taxable value and is a prime example of what can be done when emphasis on quality of life is at the forefront and decisions are made at the local level. The second option being considered, in which all three cities would be incorporated into the city of Bradenton, is a nuclear option for a perceived undetermined problem. A merger of this magnitude would be immense and costly. The fact that this is even a consideration questions the motives behind the study. Responsiveness to the needs of the communities would decline as government closest to the people is generally more accountable and effective. The larger city of Bradenton would be making decisions that could greatly impact the lives of people in these unique, smaller communities, laying waste to 100+ years of history and dedication that shaped these three charming beach communities into what they are today. Coastal cities are always going to be met with unique challenges, and up until now, I expected our greatest challenge to be resiliency from climate change and the increased frequency and strength of hurricanes. I guess I'm grateful that my sleepless nights are more the result of political antics and false narratives than the devastation from a storm. Because we are located on a barrier island, the city has developed an extremely knowledgeable and dedicated emergency operations team that is responsible for our preparedness, response, and recovery operations. We dodged another bullet this year with Hurricane Idalia, although property owners at the lower elevations did experience flooding, and many of them once again in the December winter storm. I continue to urge all property owners to make the necessary improvements to mitigate future costly storms. Resiliency will continue to be a major challenge for Barrier Island communities, and the efforts our team have made in our Swift Mud stormwater improvements, our state appropriation stormwater improvements, the ARPA capital improvement projects, and the completion of our HMGP City Center project is notable. This year, the department received a Florida Resiliency Risk Assessment Grant, a Florida Resiliency Capital Improvement Grant, and a Safety Action Grant. Although we have not yet received support for the Tourist Development Tax funding for a multi-use path in our seasonal tourist district, we're hopeful that when the board takes into consideration safety concerns, they will ultimately make the decision to support these improvements. As mayor, I continue to stand strong in my belief that all natural resources have limits in human capacity, and out of respect for our waters, beaches, and the wildlife that live here, I urge all, with the help of our Islanders for Clean Water initiative, to reduce their impacts. I also stand strong in my belief that the City of Holmes Beach is a treasure because leaders have respected the comprehensive plan and worked in making sure that the city continues to be a beautiful and safe place to visit and a wonderful place to live. We have seen a 78% reduction in crime since 2012 due to our high visibility and proactive community policing. We are thriving. And as one of the top 5 destinations in the world, we demonstrate the diverse delights of the Sunshine State with our relaxed atmosphere and a slow pace of life that many vacationers and residents long for. I can't thank you all enough. It's been an honor to serve, and I look forward to serving for several more years. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We appreciate you taking the time today. And I want you to know, as someone who owns a business in this community, I understand when we say we're going to be done about 1:15, that we need to be done about 1:15. But we also promised a couple questions. If anyone has a few quick, I would say, Honestly, as being business leaders in the community, with that focus in mind, if you have a question or two at the back, I see we have one already. Sir, if you want to step to the mic. Well,
Is it on?
yes, there you go.
Okay, Mike Meehan, resident of Manatee County. Question one concerns the homeless issue in Manatee County. I know that there's a Tunnels to Tower program about to take place in the Manatee County yard out on Cortez. I've heard that there's potential at a police substation for mothers and children in the southeast part of the county. And I've heard that there's potential for a general homeless shelter out at the county jail. What I don't know about is the state of all these potential homeless shelters. And so I'd be interested in hearing about that. Second issue relates to the dangerous level of water pollution in North Palmasola Bay. I don't know if the audience is aware of this, but a study was done by Suncoast Waterkeepers in September, which showed that the bacterial contamination in North Palmasola Bay registered 318 versus a danger zone level of 71. So the bacterial contamination in North Palmasola Bay is way above where it should be. A more recent study done in December showed that this number went up to 480. So it's an extremely polluted body of water. Suncoast Waterkeepers is trying to determine the source of that pollution. It costs money to do that. So I have a question on that. Would any of the community leaders up at the dais be willing to help fund Suncoast Waterkeepers' delineation of the source of the pollution? And secondly, would any of the leaders on the dais be interested in posting do not swim advisory for North Palmasola Bay when the pollution levels get above the danger zone? Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, sir. And I'm going to ask, because I know it's 1:18, and I apologize that we don't have more time for questions. If one of us at the table here would be willing to take that on and just kind of address, I'm talking a minute, maybe, if Mayor Brown? Yay! Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thanks for coming. Come right.
Would anybody like to answer that, Mayor Brown?
Well, first off, what the county's doing, obviously, I'm not going to answer to because of the homeless. We feel that, we're all working together throughout all of our communities. Some of us have more homeless issues than others, but, that's something that would be a better question for the county, even though we're working with them, trying to come up with solutions for what's in our city. The Sarasota Bay Estuary, we've had come talk to us many times, and I know you've been there when they talked and going through things, so we've asked them to look into some of that. And, when opportunity comes up that we can address things, once the Sarasota Bay, and I know even Dave Tomasco swims on that side, and, so we've got to go with rely on the information we're getting from the executive director of the Sarasota Bay Estuary and go through it. So, but we are addressing it as it comes up, and I will ask him again to write letters to you and others of what their expertise is showing us. And if it gets to a point, we'll address it at the time.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Appreciate it. Thank you. I don't see anyone else back at the mic, so I think if we can end maybe just very, very quickly, very quickly, one or two of you, if you could say to us as a business community, what's a positive thing we can do to help you in the various communities? One or two of you, something that, because we all lead various organizations and businesses. Anybody got
Water taxi that's starting on Friday.
Water taxi starting on Friday. Take advantage of that and support that. Anything else? One more thing?
When you're going to comment on issues, it's really good. I'm sorry. I was using my mother voice.
It's helpful for us as elected officials when people have really strong opinions on different things. Try also to take the time to research so that you're really not beating a dead horse, because it helps us. Because otherwise, when people come forward, it becomes argumentative, and it really shouldn't be, because everything is so transparent anyway. It's on the web. You can pull things up, you can research, but it certainly helps us to have educated questions. And, you know, our staff is ready, willing, and able, as I'm sure the others are, to answer questions concerning different issues before they become in a public forum. So to create controversy. Thank you.
We have one more comment, and then we're going to end.
I meant to mention this before. We have a very good, very active Chamber of Commerce on Longboat Key, and Gail Lofgren had been the chairman of that for 25 years plus. She retired several weeks ago and has a new person in charge named Kim Veralt. She wasn't able to make it today, but I wanted to mention her name to all of you and to the members of the Chamber so that you can be alert to her involvement. I think she's going to be great for us and great for the relationship with you folks as well. Thanks.
Thank you. I just want to say thank you again to everyone out here who's taken the time out of your work day to come and be part of this community gathering, and also for all our elected officials. You all have stuff you're doing, and you took the time to be with us today and open yourself up to us as a community to engage. So can we give them all a round of applause real quick? Very briefly, I just want to again thank our headliner sponsors, Florida Power and Light, Manatee Memorial Hospital, the Mosaic Company, and the Realtor Association of Sarasota and Manatee. And one last thank you, and I will let you go, but thank you to IMG Academy again for the golf club for what they've done. And it was fantastic, I thought, today, and the food was excellent. And staff at the back, thank you very much. And with that, we conclude. Y'all have a good rest of the day.